In this video, we're going to explore a problem called funding the future. At the end of 12th grade, Claire's aunt started saving money for her to use after graduating from college 4 years later. The first deposit was $300. If R is the annual interest rate of the account, then at the end of each school year, the balance in the account is multiplied by a growth factor of X equals 1 plus R. After 1 year, the total value is 300 times X. After 2 years, the total value is 300x times x, or 300x squared. Write an expression for the total value after graduation in terms of x. So if she's graduating from college 4 years later, after 1 year, the amount in the account is 300x, and after 2 years, it's 300x squared. So after 4 years, she would have 300 times x to the fourth in the account. If Claire's aunt had invested another $500 at the end of her freshman year, what would the expression be for the total value after graduation in terms of x? So she still has the original $300 in the account, which had 4 years to grow, so it would be 300 times x to the fourth. If she invested another $500 at the end of her freshman year, then we would add 500, and the $500 would have had 3 years to grow, so it would be 500 times x to the third. Now we can't combine these together because they're not like terms. X to the fourth and x to the third have different powers on x, so we would just leave it like this. Question 3 says suppose that $250 was invested at the end of sophomore year and $400 at the end of junior year, in addition to the original $300 and the $500 invested at the end of freshman year. Write an expression for the total value after graduation in terms of x. So we still have our original $300, which was in the account for 4 years, and we have our $500, which was in the account for 3 years. Now we're saying that $250 was invested at the end of sophomore year. So that means that $250 had 2 years in the account. So it would be 250 times x squared. We also have $400 invested at the end of junior year. So $400 was in the account for 1 year. Now I can write x to the first if I want to, but we don't need to write an exponent if it's a 1. So I could just write 400x as well. Either way is fine. Question 4 says what is the total amount in the account if the interest rate for the account is 3% each year? So, in order to figure this out, we need to turn this interest rate into x. And we saw earlier that x equals 1 plus r, where r is the interest rate. So x is going to equal 1 plus the interest rate of 3%. Now we would not write 1 plus 3 here. We have to convert the percent to a decimal. So 3% is equal to 3 divided by 100, or move the decimal point 2 places, 0.03. So 1 plus 0.03, which is 1.03. Now, to find the total amount in the account, I would plug this in for x. So into my expression that I have here for number 3, 300 times 1.03 to the fourth plus 500 times 1.03 to the third plus 250 times 1.03 squared plus 400 times 1.03. Now, I'm going to need a calculator to do this. I'm going to show you how to do it on the Desmos calculator. So remember, we use the graphing calculator for graphing. If we just want to calculate things, we go to Math Tools and use the Scientific Calculator. So I'm going to type in what I just wrote out. I'm doing 300 times 1.03. I use this a to the b button for exponents other than 2. So this one has an exponent of 4. Plus 500 times 1.03 to the third. Plus 250 times 1.03 squared. Plus 400 times 1.03. And then it's going to show me my answer, $1,561.24.